There's so much talks on hate speech, and then you wonder why so much emphasis on it. But then these are things that we just have to talk about. And you wonder what the media has been saying about it. These are the agenda setters. They are those that play the role of surveillance. And so how have they been managing hate speech? That will be a focus on the media review segment. I'm Eunice Johnson. Thank you for being part of this segment. My guest is Clem Aguyi. He is the CEO, African Free Press. You're welcome.
Thank you, Eunice.
Whoa, hate speech, and it's the topic has been presented before us, and via different platforms you just keep hearing it comes up almost all the time. But in your own words, what would you say hate speech is?
Hate speech has been with us here, and the crescendo has risen in the recent time, and I wouldn't know why our democracy should be so tensed that we are almost talking down on each other, hating each other, and saying things very vile about each other. Hate speech has been used by politicians, used by religious bigots, used by xenophobic people against other people. Whenever you say things that try to incite others against other group, it's a hate speech. Vulgarism is hate speech. We make comments that disparages the dignity of another person, or maybe the disabled, it's hate speech.
So irrespective of whether it's true or not, as far as it incites harm, or is there a clear difference between when what you're saying is true, or you're saying it, the motive is what defines what it is as hate speech?
The motive more or less defines what is hate speech.
Okay. Okay. So
the motive defines. For example, when you say that every woman that wears trousers is a prostitute, you are inciting the public against the women. It's a hate speech. And that's why some places in the north, they say Biri Worondo, and they could start throwing stones at you. When you as a political party begin to say the other political party destroyed Nigeria during their time, it's not everybody that's in that political party that was a criminal, but what criminalized millions of people. You're trying to incite the public against those people.
It's like a hasty generalization.
So it's a hasty generalization which tries to incite violence or incite hatred against another group. Okay. So the political parties, all of them are so just guilty of that over time. Yeah.
Okay, but as the CEO of African Free Press, it means you actually have been dealing with issues that has to do with freedom of expression of journalists. But what is the difference between hate speech and free speech?
Yeah, as a CEO of African Free Press, we promote freedom of the press. We want the voice of the voiceless to be heard. But that's not promoting hate speech. Hate speech is a foundation for hate crime. Hate speech is not a right. And there's nothing like freedom to use hate speech. We have freedom of expression. We have your right for freedom of expression, but not the right for hate speech. Because when you use hate speech, it's a precursor to crime and violence against the nation, against other group. So it's a clear difference. And so when people say, yes, the media have a right to air your view, but the media also have a right to stop you from inciting violence, inciting crisis, inciting hatred. The media have a right to stop you from overheating the nation, and the media has a job to do that.
Have they been doing this?
Yes, I think the traditional media has been self-censoring. I've also watched programs where people are trying to say something that is not acceptable. The media will redact you by blacking you out. They have been trying to do that. But do they need to do more? The answer is yes. You need to do more. You have every right to stop somebody from saying things that will incite the public. For example, I will tell you that the Second World War, when the Nazis conducted their barbarism against the Jews in the Holocaust, it was all part of media propaganda. Media was used in advancing that. When there was a genocide against the Igbos in the north of Nigeria that led to the Nigerian Civil War, it began as hate speech on the floor of parliament using the media. The Rwandan genocide was hate speech. The radio was used to call some people cockroaches. And they started killing each other because they were killing cockroaches. Even Nigeria 2015 election was so tense. So many hate speeches were being advanced by by all the political parties, especially the two major political parties.
Okay, but speaking of the Rwandan crisis, and you mentioned some other ones, which was one of the instances that the special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, cited in a recent gathering. He mentioned that the media, print specifically, but we wouldn't necessarily need to mention, reported and somehow accused the presidency of being responsible for the Benue carnage in some sort of way, which means that even the media that is supposed to regulate could also somehow be, you know, perpetrators of hate speech. So how can this be watched, being the media as the watchdog now being accused of even partaking in this? How can they report things as it is and still, you know, not incite violence or hurt?
Well, the politicians, I think, should evaluate their conscience, because at different times, these politicians that actually use the hate speech and turn around to accuse the media is only a vehicle that have been using to conduct their own affairs, even though we don't like what they're doing. But then, should the media follow the bandwagon and continue in that direction? The answer is no. The media can do a lot by stopping them. When I say the politicians should evaluate their own conscience, I think it's very wrong for anybody to say that the president is responsible for the carnage going on in Benue State and other part of Nigeria. Just like it was wrong for the present political party that is in power today to have said that the previous party was responsible for Boko Haram killing people in the north. So they should evaluate their own consciences, because it's what goes around that comes around. But are we going to continue in that direction? The answer is no. What can the media do? Yes, the media can evolve a policy whereby they can stop you from using their platform in conducting hate speech. But that policy will work. It will work in many places. The media also can begin to also, on their own, investigate these people that are purveyors of hate speech. But there's what we call investigative journalism. When you see somebody that is using their platform as a hate speech or purveying hate speech all over the place, you can investigate, find out who is funding him or her, and who is he funding. By the time you investigate, you find out that somebody somewhere, some group somewhere, that really want to destabilize the country are the ones funding that person, because they're not acting alone.
But you know, this is a clear case of opposition camps or warring factions trying to use the media as a theater of war. But you're saying that they should investigate or do certain things about it. How can the media escape this? For instance, in a case where the government or the party involved is the one, you know, that is regulating the media, how can the media investigate against? Is it possible here in Nigeria that the media can be as objective as possible and not get into some sort of trouble for it?
Objectivity is subjective, but the media as a professional group can evolve their own policy whereby they were able to help the society to grow and not to be destroyed. I strongly believe that the media can evolve policy, in-house policies that will make sure that somebody who comes on air, for example, or who comes on the print to conduct hate speech is not allowed the space.
Okay.
And the media can also conduct investigative journalism on such people and find out their networks and who is funding them. Because most of these people that are purveyors of hate speech are not acting alone.
They have
yes.
It's like a needle that has a thread,
so
it has a link
yes,
somehow.
Yes.
But
and what stopped the DSS or NSA or the IGP of police in instituting an award for investigative journalism so that journalists can help you solve crime? It's so, in an advanced country, that's what happened. Investigative journalism helped to solve a lot of crimes. But Nigeria, that's nothing. Nobody is encouraging anybody to do anything.
Very quickly, your last words for regulatory bodies in the media, like NUJ and all that, as to what role they can play in regulating or managing the media when hate speech, as far as hate speech is concerned.
It's about redacting, but also must be careful so that the ruling party or the security agencies does not use the excuse of regulating hate speech also to begin to impart on people's rights. But like I said earlier on, hate speech is not a right. There's no freedom for hate speech. we shouldn't allow it. It shouldn't be tolerated.
On that final thought, we shouldn't allow hate speech to thrive. We shouldn't give hate speech a chance or use that as an excuse for freedom of speech. That's it for another episode of Inside. My guest has been Clem Aguyi, CEO, African Free Press. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, it's been quite an explicit session. That's about it for this segment.
Well, that's a wrap on Inside today.
Yes, well, we draw the curtains on another episode of Inside. We do hope that you enjoyed every bit of it. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for another episode, same time next week.
We always say support what government is doing. Government is there for the people. Government is trying its very best to ensure that we are protected and secured in Nigeria. The latest operation, IM Akpatron Operation Cat Race, is about you. It's about the people. If it succeeds, then the problem of cattle rustling, the problem of armed banditry, militia, herdsmen, farmers clash will be over. I believe you got the message. On behalf of all of us, thanks for watching.